Today we have a very, very special guest. And before we start, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever feel that you are in a situation that you have a habit that you will prefer not to have? For instance, smoking or eating or spending, anything that you perceive to be challenge. Well, guess what? You're not alone. I'm pretty sure all of us have something similar, but the world doesn't know everything. Today's guest is a very inspiring man, and inspired. He loves what he does. Steve Roehm, he is a master of transformation or transforming lives. He is a master hypnotherapist, a NLP master practitioner. Look at this. Master. He's a master. A life coach, a social and emotional intelligence coach. I'm just going to stop there because I'm getting so excited. I don't want to get excited. Emotional coach. Wow. Let's start with that. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm super inspired today. I want to ask you the first question I want to ask you because there's so much you do. Who is Steve Roehm?
Who is Steve? That's a question I've been asking myself for years. I don't know yet. I think Steve is evolving and becoming more than he ever thought he could be, and realizing that this is still just the beginning of the journey because there's so much more ahead. You've seen my CV. You read part of it there a few minutes ago, and I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd about helping people, really, is what it comes down to. And I love helping people. I'm a motorcycle rider. I'm a dad. I'm a dog dad. I'm just a normal random guy who fell in love with helping people, realize that the life they have doesn't have to be the one that they're going to have.
Just to clarify, you are your home is Nashville. However, you are able to help people from all over the globe.
Yes, my clients are everywhere. I've got clients in Australia, Canada. Basically, if it's an English-speaking country, I've probably had clients there, and even some that aren't. I've had some clients that are English-speaking in those places. So, my clientele is global. Has been for several years.
So let's go about the emotional intelligence coach. This is an amazing conversation. What does that mean? Let's start with that. What does that mean?
What does it mean? It means connecting with your deeper self. It means understanding your own emotions and the fact that your emotions are not controlled. No, they're not you, really, for the most part. Mm-hmm. And when you can step back from your emotions and realize the experiences that you're experiencing are not an actual reality, but the lens through which you are looking, when you can take control of those things, then you have the ability to adjust your reaction to the situation you're in, or the response, really, because reaction is more of a gut thing. And that's where people get into trouble, because they work from those emotions. And when you make decisions and actions from those emotions many times, depending on the emotion, it can really get you in a lot of trouble. So I'm guilty of it as well. Who isn't? But it's just being aware of who you are in certain situations and how you manage to maneuver and navigate through those experiences, and being in control of yourself, really.
So, but even though the emotions is not whatever we are, do you perceive that it's important to have those emotions for us?
I think some of them, yes. I think it depends on the individual and the situation. Mm-hmm. I think we've also become a very emotional society. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we're making choices from emotions rather than being able to step back and look at things from a logical perspective as well. I think there needs to be a balance within all of that. But when there's not the balance, then we're going at it the wrong way, I think. Because strictly from logic, we're losing compassion. If we're coming at it strictly from emotion, then it's just nobody's really thinking.
The amygdala is a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
And what those emotions are teaching us? When we have an emotion, what is the way, or in your perception, what is that we have to, for instance, let's say that I went shopping, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And or let's make it simple. I have two dogs. Let's say that one of my dogs, I'm walking her and I remove the leash inside my property, and suddenly she went in a different direction that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have time for this. And I just overreact to that, and I start, being a little mean to the dog and blah blah blah. And eventually I catch myself that it wasn't really necessary. So at that moment, what I stop, and what should I process? What should I think? What do you perceive is going to help me to realize that wasn't necessary? That wasn't me. I love my dogs, obviously.
Sure. For me, honestly, I think, what's Steve later going to think about this?
So
what's Steve, when he's relaxed later, going to think about the reaction or the response that I have in this situation? So a lot of what I do now is really look at, how can I serve that Steve so he can be proud of who I am, so his life can be easier. So, simple things. And I just, putting dishes in the dishwasher at night before I go to bed, right? So when he wakes up tomorrow, he doesn't have to deal with it. So I'm always wondering, how can I serve him better? And by reacting in the moment, I may not be serving that better version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it just brings me back to the moment. Okay. And that gives me a chance to step back and respond to the situation rather than react to it, because that's what most people end up doing, unfortunately.
Food eating, it's very emotional, right?
Many times, yeah.
Most of the time, yes. Actually, in my culture, I am a Latin woman. We communicate, and everything. Food is just how we. When I am fasting or dieting, my mother has a struggle. She cannot give me food, and that's the way she shows love.
That's the way she loves you. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So, with regards to food, because what you are talking about is what is going to Elena think tomorrow. So let's say that I have a pizza, which is not my preferred food, but just a pizza, right? It's easy. I'm too tired. I don't want to cook. I'm just going to order a pizza.
Okay.
And that goes with any foods that I know is going to challenge my body, that I know is going to tell me tomorrow, hey, you ate pizza yesterday. Mm-hmm. So same thing. This is not emotional, but at that moment, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with cooking. I don't want to deal with anything else except that order a pizza.
Right.
Do you perceive that right before I push that button that says send and order the pizza, it's probably a good idea to stop and think, how Elena is going to feel tomorrow? How about this?
I think it's a good idea to stop before you push most buttons. Yes. It's the same reason I quit doing drugs, the same reason I quit drinking, the same reason I quit smoking, because I knew what cigarettes were going to do to my body later. I knew what alcohol did to my body the next day. I knew what drugs did to me after the fact, and it was never worth it.
It's never
so
worth it.
I set a new standard for myself.
I have a question. When you realize those things, did you realize all of it at the same time, or it was?
No, it took a while. It took a while to get over my stuff, because the thing is, the choices that I was making in relation to those things with the cigarettes, they were basically a pacifier, because when I felt anxious, I went to my tobacco passy. The alcohol and the drugs were there really because I didn't want to face myself. And a big part of that was being able to step back away from them and recognize whatever pain that I was running away from, the shame and the guilt because of all the people that I hurt along the way because I was so messed up. And, I was hiding even further away from those. So the real work came after the fact. That's where I'm like, I know this stuff isn't good for me, but if I stop, I got to face the bullshit.
And it's easier to maintain the habit instead of just.
It isn't, but it seems it. Mm-hmm. Because I was working from emotion.
So I want to ask you, let's just go. Are you willing to go intimate in this conversation? Because
we can go wherever you want to.
All right, I love that.
If I don't like the question, I'll tell you.
Yes,
we'll be fine.
Anyway, the name is Intimate Conversations with Men, so I think we are in the right direction. what make you stop? What make you decide, okay, this is not helping, or I had to make a shift, or was there an event in your life? What make you decide I had to stop? Let's start with smoking, because
Okay.
you mentioned a beautiful list of things.
Yeah, well, she's 26 now, and and made me really look in the mirror and think about my life choices.
Mm.
And yeah, so I've got a beautiful baby. She's not a baby anymore, but you get the idea.
She will be your baby forever.
Well, yeah, but because of that, I've realized that I don't want her to look at me as somebody who's drunk all the time, who's high all the time, who's killing himself all the time. I didn't want to be the angry guy that I was, and I really wanted to be a father. I really, wanted to, no, not a father. I wanted to be a dad. That's what I wanted to be. Anybody could be a father. Any man paying attention to this right now, you could be a father, but that doesn't turn you into a dad.
Okay, explain to me the difference, because I definitely will never be either or maybe I will.
For me, a father is a sperm donor,
Mm,
and a dad is somebody who shows up.
okay, excellent.
Just to put it in simplest of terms.
A lot of men muscle through problems
Mm-hmm.
instead of really working on them in a way that is more efficient. What do you perceive is so difficult for men to truly go deep, intimate into their emotions, their feelings, and having the ability to express what is really happening in their hearts and their minds and their bodies?
I can tell you from the perspective of a nearly 56-year-old man, having grown up in the 70s and the 80s, that men my age, at least from my demographic, I grew up in Kentucky. I was threatened with reasons to cry when I cried. I'll give you a reason to cry. Look, I don't need a damn reason to cry. I'm already doing it. But it's, it's push those emotions down, rub some dirt in it and get over it and move on. And that's the way most men in my generation grew up. And it was even harder for the generation before us.
How old were you when you have these memories? I speak with many men in all over the world, and this is very similar. But I just want to know, how old were you when you have these memories that you remember
Oh
this day?
gosh, that goes back to 3, 4, 5 years old.
And when do you realize, like, fuck it, I want to express, I want the world to know, I want whoever, I want to express, I want to.
I had to get over my stuff. I was in my 30s before I was even able to be vulnerable enough to be able to step up.
Was that after your daughter's birth?
It was after her birth. It was after I got off the drugs and the alcohol and quit abusing myself and stopped being afraid and hiding all the time.
What makes you decide to be vulnerable?
Uh Again, I think I just got tired of hiding. It's and I realized along the way that when I was vulnerable with my clients, that they really appreciated it, because it wasn't just me sitting there asking them questions about them. I'm actually being with them, and like, I understand. When somebody comes to me, and I've helped over 7,000 people quit smoking, I know what it's like to be a smoker. I used to smoke 2 packs a day, so I get it. I've been in the trenches. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to be near suicide. I know what it's like to deal with anxiety. I know what it's like not to like yourself and the life you've created. It's so I know all that stuff, and I saw the benefits of laying all that out for my clients, going, look, I've been there. I get it. I know your pain. So let's work through it, because if I can get here, you can too. I'm nobody special. I just became a nerd about this stuff. I decided that if I can change my life by quitting smoking with hypnosis, what else can I do now? So I just started working through all of my shit. And I think I've gotten through most of it. I'm sure there's some lingering things in there somewhere, there's some dark corner that I haven't found yet. But for the most part, I've been focused on taking care of my life and developing a better version of me every day.
Steve, for the men who are listening and they're struggling in There's two questions, but I'm going to ask both.
You're good.
First, they're struggling with overcoming a habit, whatever that is. It could be alcohol, smoke. You help thousands of people. That's the first question. Let's just make the first question.
Let me address that first. Because I look at cigarettes as an adult pacifier. Okay. Many people think they're addicted to nicotine. I don't think that's the case, quite honestly.
They have to have something in their mouth.
Not necessarily. But it's something that they've equated with some kind of relaxation or something like that, most likely. And but it's just their thing. It just replaced the pacifier that they had when they were a kid. And just like a baby, when an adult doesn't have their passy, what do? They lose their mind, right? They get stressed out, they get anxious, and then they think they're having these addictive cravings. I don't think it has anything to do with the chemicals, honestly. I've had almost all of my clients quit smoking in the first session. And I've worked with people with real alcohol issues. I've worked with people with cocaine and opioid addictions and meth, and most of them I don't work with now because they have to get off the stuff to have some clarity before we can even. Because I can't hypnotize somebody out of a meth stupor, But I can help them once they've cleared cleared that stuff out of their system, discover what they can do moving forward that's going to be better for them, and find what's really valuable to them within themselves and their life. But as far as alcohol goes, there's a different thing going on there because there's a lot of different reasons that people drink. So, again, for me, when I was drinking the way I drank, I thought I was having a good time, but really I was just running away from myself. But I didn't recognize that until I was out of that deep water. When I could finally breathe and look back and go, oh my God, I was drowning and I had no idea how close I was to dying.
Oh, wow.
I drank a lot when I drank. I go pretty hardcore at everything I do.
I love that. That's me.
Some days is okay.
The intensity. What is a lot? Drinking a lot. Give me an idea. I'm not a big drinker, so I'm a little drinker.
Blacking out 3 or 4 nights a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not about amount. It's about losing control.
It wasn't always about the amount. Sometimes it's how fast I drank it too.
I'm going to ask you a question here. What is the biggest shame that you carried before or now what is the biggest shame that you carried that you have hard time sharing?
The biggest shame. I think probably the people that I hurt along the way while I was as fucked up as I was, excuse my French, but if we're talking to adults here, we are. I know I hurt a lot of people along the way. And I know that there were people who loved me who were watching me destroy myself and didn't know what to do. And that's looking back on it, that's probably, a massive amount of time that I wasted killing myself. Years that I could have been devoted to something, much more productive than breaking myself to death.
Well, everything happens for a reason, and are all. What do you perceive, or what is your opinion about challenges that we have through life? And that includes some situation of, hurting someone physically, or being hurt physically or emotionally, or being in a situation, in a very challenging event in our lives, and being in that moment and not being able to digest or process that, and letting that run in our life and determine and defining who we are.
So the thing is, we are emotional beings, and our mind learns from emotional situations. So in that case, it's really important for people to step outside of themselves and get somebody outside to hold the mirror up for them. Because if they're living through emotions and living through the experiences they've had that are just driving actions that they're not even aware that they're taking many times, then they need somebody to show them where they are. And because it's hard to see by yourself. If you're solely stuck in your own thoughts based on an experience that you had, and there's not somebody there to go, wait a minute, let me put a pause in the middle of this race you're running in this circle in your head, and give you some perspective on it, then people will continue to run that circle.
So I had a case. I have some background in human resources. So I run investigations and deal with employees with the most complex situations primarily. So I work a lot. Human being has been my source of interest, learning and understanding.
Plenty to study.
Yes. And I call myself a curious conversationalist. I love learning, right?
Yeah.
And curious is my 2026 word. I use a different word per year. So I remember this. Why it's so important, and I give you the example, why it's so important for us to be the victim and to run the story of being the victim when at times we participate in situations. And I'm going to give you an example. I once ran an investigation with one of the male employees was accused by more than one woman for being a little, let's say, touchy or something, right, with other women. Let's say it was 3 women involved.
Okay.
The individual who brought that to my attention said he once, as he greeted me, he kissed me in the cheek and his hand went from my back to my waist. And she felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I listened to that. I listened to all the stories. Well, actually, I listened to all the stories, but me, trying to figure out who's lying, who's saying the truth. One of the pieces that I found out that this specific lady didn't tell me is that these are his words and confirmed by her at a later time. I don't know what she's saying that. And one day, as I was leaving, she was giving me the work. She gave me a blowjob in the parking lot.
Okay.
When I asked her, she said that was outside of work.
Okay.
So,
okay. All right.
yeah, I deal with very interesting things that you can.
I guess so.
It's a house of terror here. So my question for you is, what makes it so important? Because you said you feel shame about the people you hurt, right? And I perceive that there's limitations to that sometimes we don't see because we run a shame world, and that's what they tell us. But what makes it so important to humans, men and women, to run the story of being the victim and not having the accountability or accepting the responsibility that sometimes we participate on an event? What do you perceive that is?
I think that goes back to some story in their mind that's bringing them some value, whatever it is. Maybe they're getting attention from it, or maybe they want to hide from things. It really depends on the individual and which side they're on in the situation. But most likely it goes back to something that happened when they were 3 or 4 years old, or perhaps they were hypnotized by their parents in ways that they weren't aware, because we all are. Mm-hmm. People think that hypnosis is me swinging a watch in front of their face and taking control of their mind. And really what I think hypnosis is when your unconscious or your subconscious mind accepts an idea as a truth. Now, whether that truth is true or not, it's something that the mind has accepted. So if you see people on like a stage hypnosis show, right, where they're sitting on stage, it's 95 degrees outside and they're outside and they think they're freezing, well, their mind has accepted that truth in quotes, as a reality in the moment. So having said that, if you think about it in that context, everything we teach our kids and everything we're taught by our parents is basically hypnosis. Mm-hmm. So we're absorbing things by the things we see around us, especially from our parents, because they're the people who are supposed to represent the world at large.
Authority.
Yeah. So we assume that what they're doing is true and right and good, and that's what's the way the world is supposed to be, or twisted as it is can be sometimes. And then it becomes a part of our programming without us even knowing it's a part of our programming.
So when parents introduce authority to us and we subordinate to their beliefs system, or whatever they teach us, and then at a later age, we transfer that authority to religion, teachers, government, et cetera, et cetera. how can we make it easier for us to start thinking on our own instead of, having this authoritarian figure telling us, ruling our lives, our beliefs, and what to do, and what is right and wrong.
Read, read and meditate. And when you're going up against something, read the opposite of it and go study the opposite of it. Go to YouTube, go search exactly the opposite of what you've been told and decide if it's the truth or not. Because everybody is coming, well, I can't say everybody, but most people are coming from their perspective of the world and what they want you to perceive of it. Everybody has their own narrative. That's why you shouldn't watch the news, because it doesn't matter which channel you're on. There's one channel that's going to tell you what's on the left. There's one channel that's going to tell you what's on the right. Somewhere in the midst of that may be some reality, but it's still a bunch of bullshit that you're fed.
So in your bio, I read the word master multiple times. Mm-hmm. So those individuals who do not educate themselves, who do not think on their own, become the masters. And it's until you read and learn that you start becoming a master. Is that?
It was bestowed upon me. I read a lot. I practiced a lot. And I think that's where real mastery comes in, is in practice. Because I have a library of books over here that you don't see. I've got about 1,000 books here. Those don't mean anything. They're just static knowledge sitting there. And until they're put into action and that knowledge is put in here and processed and created something through it, then those books don't mean anything. They're just a bunch of paper on shelves.
Life is a university and a gymnasium. We need to practice in order to demonstrate that we have learned something.
Exactly. That's where mastery comes from. Mm-hmm. I can teach you to hypnotize somebody literally in a couple of hours. It's really quite easy. What you do with it from there could literally take the rest of your life to study. I've been studying for 26 years now, almost 27 years, and still feel like I'm in kindergarten when it comes to hypnosis. But just because it just keeps going deeper, the more further I get into it, the more I understand that the way the mind is working, the way it processes information, and how we can introduce ideas and suggestions, and sometimes covertly and sometimes overtly, just depending on how I need to help my clients change.
Master of hypnotherapy thinks it is in kindergarten. I don't know what we
think. I think that if you look at any musician that has any humility, would tell you even after decades of playing an instrument, they're still learning all day long.
Oh, absolutely. Master is not 10,000 hours of doing something. It really, it's a continued, it's like, let me ask you this, that brings me to the question, what do you perceive that the word success or being successful brings anxiety to some men?
I think that could go back to their upbringing. I mean, and it depends on what success is and how they define it. Because success isn't always monetary. It isn't always a big house. Sometimes it's how many people you've helped. But, again, coming up from where I grew up in a blue collar family, my mom worked in a cubicle in an office her whole life. My dad worked in a factory or various factories his whole life. Mm-hmm. So the perception of money was not really, it wasn't there. That's not the way we decided what's success, not the way we defined it. Mm-hmm. We define success as how do we treat people, and how do we show up in the world. My dad was a volunteer fireman for 34 years. That's success to me. He didn't earn $1 doing it, but he helped thousands of people's lives over the years. So, and that's probably one of the reasons I do what I do, because I really enjoy helping people. I just do it in a different way now. I'm not running into houses that are on fire because it doesn't sound like a good idea to me. And God bless all of you who do.
Thank you. So what do we run from, or we try to hide or run from our problems? Why is it easier at that time to do that instead of facing reality that eventually could be more simple and free our hearts and our soul from that chaos?
Well, sometimes it comes down to the emotional pain. Sometimes it comes down to recognizing that, or admitting you've been wrong, sometimes for decades, because of pride. Some people live through their problems and it creates their identity. And if they don't have their problem, how could they be who they are? I've got a client or had a client who, I guess he's still a client. He just doesn't do what he did. But his identity was completely wrapped around alcohol. When he showed up at a party, he was the good time guy. And that was his entire identity. So he was afraid to let the alcohol go because he didn't know who he was going to be without it. So there's all kinds of reasons people hold on to their stuff. A lot of times it's fear of recognizing that they're not who they think they are. And then they have to face the stuff they don't want to face about themselves. And, again, it could be guilt, it could be shame, could be fear, or it could be all of it wrapped up in one.
Were you able to resolve your guilt and shame with those individuals that you perceived that you hurt? And what took place in order to...
With some, I really, what it came down to more than anything else was forgiving myself. Because many of those people, some of them I lost touch with, which is fine. They didn't need to be in my life anymore because we weren't doing either of us any good. But it was a lot of it just came down to forgiving myself for being who I had been being in my life. And once that happened, then I could start to step up and do something different because I don't have to carry that stuff with me now. But I had a couple of good people who really held the mirror up for me too. And if it wasn't for somebody on the outside of me, I wouldn't be where I am.
So do you perceive that it's important to have a social group or a family in order for us to get out of our own mess?
Not necessarily a social group or a family, but at least somebody who can stand back and go, hey, look, you're really fucking things up.
Somebody who's true and honest.
Yeah, because a lot of times family's not going to be honest with you. And some will, some won't, depending on the family you grew up in. My family was not like, they're not one to go, hey, Steve, look, you're drinking yourself to death. They just sat back and kind of watched it and goes, well, that's his choice. Some families will step up and smack you in the face and tell you you're an idiot. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes that's a reason you're doing what you're doing. But I think it is important to have somebody at least outside, who is your cheerleader, who's on your team, who's your advocate, who, will be maternal and paternal in the times when you need it. Somebody who can be there, who can listen to you while you're crying and letting all the shit out. And then somebody who's going to smack you across the face and go, look, you're fucking things up. You need to wake up.
I'll take the job. I can do both.
I think that's where I have a good balance with my clients because I'm completely honest with them. But when they're there and they want to cry and let it out and they finally hit that emotional release, I'm here to help you. Here's my shoulder. Cry on it. Let's get through this so you can let all this stuff go. And then we'll find the next layer and we'll work through it.
Steve, a large number of men between the age of 18 and 30 years of age now are finding intimacy through AI, social media, electronic stuff, including video games,
right,
and pornography.
Sure.
They're being very challenged. And by doing that, they are like, again, life is a university and a gymnasium. They're not practicing what in real life means to connect with another individual, regardless if it's another man or a woman in this case. It's going to be hard to build healthy partnerships in the future when a partnership becomes pornography or AI.
Yeah.
What do you perceive? What is your opinion about that?
I think people need to turn their damn computer off and go talk to people and have real connections again. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a time when the phone was still tethered to the wall and it wasn't always in my back pocket. And I walked out of the house. I didn't care if anybody called. It didn't matter. Now I've got my phone sitting with me everywhere I go. It kind of runs my life and I kind of need it because I'm not that organized some days. That's one of my challenges still. But yeah, people need to have human connections. And if you're relying on AI, then AI is going to be a cheerleader for you, but it's going to take you down the wrong road because it's only going to be a yes man. That's all it does. Yes, 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 you're right. Yes, 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 you're right. Yes, 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 you're right. And that's not what people need. People need to be smacked across the face on occasion. People need their ass kicked on it every now and then. because that's what teaches you life. And the thing is, those kids right now who are stuck in front of their computer all the time, who have no human connection, eventually life is going to kick their ass. And if I was them, I'd get out of there and go get my ass kicked now and get it over with, because it's going to happen.
Maximum develop and grow occurs at the border of support and challenge. You were talking about earlier how it's important to have those kind of relationships, not just social or family, but that one who's going to be maternal and paternal at the same time,
Yep.
who's going to smack you in the face and is going to give you a shoulder to cry.
Yep.
Why we are so infatuated with the positive and be supported, and we neglect the challenge and and not knowing that this is going to create a more fulfilling life. What makes us just be into let's be positive, which is definitely not working so far.
You think?
Why we look for that? Why don't? That's not reality, right?
No, it's not. It's a weird abstract form of a reality that people have accepted.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when they get their ass kicked and they wonder why, and they handle it like a 3-year-old, then they're going to find out pretty quickly that they should have stepped up and learned some life skills. But people are afraid. It's if you're always being told, yes, everything that you're doing is correct, especially from being a small child, that sure, yeah, that what you're thinking right now is absolute truth. No, it's not always true. It's coming from a 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old's perception of what reality is, and they have a very limited perception of reality because they haven't been in the world. They've been in a microcosm of the world. And then people grow up with those beliefs that everything they feel is right and true and good, and it's not always true. And then we end up with all kinds of craziness in the streets.
Going back to the AI intimate, and I hear your opinion, but what can we do as a society to, this is I don't know if it's called a disease or that is increasing. Especially for men, there are so many young men. And the statistic tells you everything. The number of suicidals is way larger in males than females. You have also the individuals who come back from the service and they don't know how to deal. You can clearly see there's something going on. In addition to that, like I say, as long as Robin Williams' story is there, exists, we have a problem, because why nobody is fucking watching? Why nobody around is watching?
Well, I think that people hide well. I mean, I never would have thought Robin Williams was that depressed until it was all over. He did a great job of hiding from people, and at least the world at large. I'm sure some people around him were fully aware of what was going on, but it's hard to intercept that sometimes. And people get caught up in these cyclical thoughts, and depression is a nasty thing to get caught up in. I've been there. I was close myself a couple of times.
What made you go there, and how you got out of there?
One was a really interesting situation. I was probably 21, somewhere in there, and I was very depressed. I was done. I was decided I was going to quit. So I decided I was going to jump in the Ohio River, and because I lived in Kentucky at the time, and rode a 10-speed down to the river and decided, here I go. And I said, okay, I'm coming home. If you want me here, you better let me know now. And it's still hard to believe this even happened, but an otter popped his head out of the water in front of me. And I don't know if it shook its head at me or if it's shaking its head or something, but it moved its head enough for me to step back for a second and take a breath. And I said, okay, I'm going to go home. I don't know why. I don't know why that just happened, but I asked for an answer and I got it. So
what made you go to that darkness where you are determined to take that action?
I'd been depressed for a long time. I didn't feel like I had any worth. I didn't feel like I was doing anything good for the world.
Was that before you were vulnerable with somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you were not able to express that. So part of that is not having that communication with somebody else.
I didn't think I was able to express myself.
Of
Wasn't
course.
that wasn't that I created.
Listen to you, baby. You can talk. You can express.
It wasn't that I couldn't. I just didn't know how, and I was afraid to.
Hmm.
Because if I'm vulnerable, what are people going to think about me? What are they going to think about this man who's being a pussy inside and afraid of everything and not liking himself? It's I was scared, quite honestly. I was afraid to let people see me.
Hmm. We all are, I guess.
So it was easier to not be seen and then decide I didn't deserve to be around anyway.
How does a man does not lose any masculinity and still is able to express his emotions?
I think that's probably one of the most masculine things we can do because it takes a hell of a lot of strength to do it.
So to help me here, for someone is listening right there
Mm-hmm.
and is unable to communicate and is sad and maybe depressed
Mm-hmm.
and is ready maybe to commit suicide because he feels that there's no way to communicate. He feels so ugly and so dark that whatever comes out of his mouth is going to be hurting other people. And he prefers not to communicate. And he's there. What words of wisdom can you tell this man?
Be courageous and talk to somebody.
But what if I lose my masculinity by doing that? I was told not to express my emotions. There you go.
And again, what's the strongest thing you can do is face your fears.
How do I face my fears? I've never learned how to do that.
Then it's time to start. You didn't know how to walk when you started walking. You don't know how to talk when you started talking.
What is the first step?
Find somebody with an ear who'll listen. Pick up the phone and call me. Talk. Somebody. Pick up the suicide hotline. Go find a cop. Go find a priest. Go find a preacher. Go find a monk. Go find a hooker. Somebody who'll pay attention. It doesn't matter where you are. Just find somebody who will listen to you for a few minutes and at least give you some distance from the thought that you were having. Because if you can get that far away from it, you can get that far away from it. And if you can get that far away from it, it just keeps growing. You just have to keep taking the next step. And be willing to step up and realize there's so much more than this thought that you're stuck in. Because your life is being driven right now by thoughts that aren't serving you, by emotions that aren't serving you. But people live through their emotions and they think their emotions are supposed to be everything. And it's a bunch of bullshit. So pick up the phone. Go pick up the Bible. Go pick up I don't care what, go read something. Go find something smarter than you. Find somebody smarter than you. Somebody who's willing to stand there and talk to you for a minute. Because you never know, the next person could save your life. You just never know.
What is emotional intelligence?
Control of your emotions, being aware of your emotions, and not letting them drive your life.
How I can do that?
Slow down. Stop for a minute. Take a few deep breaths. Step back and again, have a conversation with somebody who can give you some perspective from outside, because if you don't have perspective from outside, you're still stuck in your own thoughts.
I try speaking with somebody and that person make fun of me or told me that was bullshit. How do I know who to trust?
Not that person. Right. That's a good question. I don't know. And it may take a couple people to find the right one. Because everybody's living through their own bullshit.
The majority of humans, men and women, are living a life of not authenticity. Mm-hmm. They study the careers they're being told that are going to be successful. They're driven sometimes for the wrong reasons. Again, because the parents told them, you're supposed to dedicate your life to be this. And they label them from the moment they create them. um, how can they identify their true self, the authentic self, and dedicate their lives to some purpose that is really meaningful to them? What is the first step?
Oh, the first step. Gosh, that's first off, decide what makes you happy. What are your values? What really drives you? Because if you don't know what drives you, and you don't know what your values are and understand them in a hierarchy, then you're making decisions on random thoughts and choices. I have a handful of top values that drive everything I do. And everything fits within that. And anything that falls below that still has to be filtered through those things. It's my health is first and foremost. If I'm not healthy, I can't help anybody else. I can't live the life I want, period. I got one body and that's it. This thing's got to last me my whole life. So I want to keep it as healthy as I can. It's why I eat good food. It's why I drink good water. It's why I take care of myself. It's why I go to the gym. It's why I work out. It's why I meditate. It's because I got it. And by health, I mean mental, physical, and spiritual. So it's all encompassing in that. Beyond that, it's service. It's showing up and helping people and doing what I can to help other people have better lives. Beyond that is relationships. And that I include my family and friends. Yeah, right below that's freedom. And sometimes those change in order depending on what day it is and what I have going on. So if I don't have to worry about my family or my friends and I don't have any sessions, I'm going to go get on my motorcycle and I'm going to be free for the day. And that's where I find my freedom, is cruising down the highway.
Excellent. Let's talk a little more about values. I love that. How do I determine my values? How do I know? I'm confused. I don't know. I'm confused because I'm still being controlled by, this authoritarian figure, which can be multiple individuals or entities. And I don't know how to free myself from that and be, me, and know exactly how to be in touch with what is my life purpose.
Well, there's a difference. What is your life purpose and what are values there? Life purpose, I think that may get more spiritual than I'm going to get into.
Of course. Let's answer values first and then we can...
Your soul contract or whatever it is that you signed that got you here. I don't know. But values, I've got a whole process that I take people through. It's about a 2-hour process.
Oh, okay.
Where we sit down and really what's important to you, what drives you, what makes you make an entire list of these things. And people will come up with, 10 to 30 different values that they think are important to them. But if you're trying to live your life through the lens of 30 different values, you're never going to get focused. If you have a telescope with 30 lenses in it, how likely are you to ever get focused at all? Highly unlikely.
Narrow it down.
So it's exactly. Then we take all those values that they've come up with. They put them in order of importance. They think what's important. And then I have them go back and compare one from the other from the bottom and work out to what really is important. And it typically comes down to 3 to 4 to 5 that actually matter.
When you take these individuals through this process, do you find common that a lot of individuals do not know really their true values, even when they're living a life?
Oh, I think it's most people.
I agree. Why? Why is that happening?
Because there's no self-examination. Most people never step back and look at themselves. That's why you need somebody on the outside to go, hey, here's the mirror. You may not like what you see, but this is who you are and the person you've created. So now on the other side of that, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? How do you want to live your life? What do you want to experience? How do you want to show up a year from now? If you imagine yourself a year from now, looking back at you today, what do you want to be different when you show up there? And what will that part of you say about you today? Yeah, you were a fucking idiot and you kept doing all the stupid shit you did. Or, oh my God, that was the day you made a decision to make a change. And you stepped up and you did something that put you out of your comfort zone and push you beyond the emotional bullshit you're carrying around. So you can become a slightly better version of you today. Maybe that means going to the gym today for the first time in ever or maybe years. Maybe it means going in and looking in your refrigerator, realizing that everything in there is a bunch of garbage and you need to throw it out and replace it with things that are going to bring you health.
Yeah.
You know, it's maybe it's the fact that the job that you have is not serving you well and you hate it. I've had jobs where I had one job I used to get nauseous driving to it every single morning.
That's a good sign to know that that's...
Oh, it was great. Get me out of here. But what is it in your life that isn't serving you well, and what do you want to be better so you can be a year from now, so that you look back and realize the massive change that you can make in a fairly short period of time if you get focused and decide who you want to be and what you're willing to commit to yourself to make happen when you set a standard for yourself. That you're not willing to put up with the bullshit, that you're not willing to put up with the lies you've been telling yourself, that you're not willing to face life through all the fears that you have. You're willing to step up and do something different.
You know, I usually ask people, ask yourself this question: if God or whoever you really believe that is beyond this earth, nobody from this earth.
Yep.
Actually, I'm going to change that. Actually, the question is, you have 24 hours to goodbye, amigo, in this world. Leave, right? Die.
Yep.
But not because you volunteer. It's because it's going to happen. And a higher divine identity comes and asks you, do you live your life to the do you live a fulfilling life? You live a life that was fulfilling, or is there anything that you will have changed? And if you say yes, you're good to go. And if you say no, I wouldn't have spend more time with my kids. What I say to them is, what the fuck are you waiting for? To be 24 hours for the, good departure time. So no. And this is what you're talking about, right?
Honestly, I don't regret anything, because everything that guy did back there made me who I get to be today.
And we love this guy, by the way.
Thank you. I'm just trying to be a better me every day, really, because the better me I am, the better version of me I can show for everybody else.
And who you think like to be a better version of themselves on a daily basis?
Say that one more time.
Who in the world do you perceive would like to be a better version of themselves on a daily basis?
God, I wish everybody made a decision. I'm going to do something slightly better today. I'm going to do something a little better today. I'm going to do something better for me today. I'm going to do something better for the world today. I'm going to help somebody today. You know, if you're stuck in your own bullshit, go help somebody. Go find somebody and help them. And what you need is on the other side of that, because you get out of your way and you realize you have some value in the world too.
Yeah.
You know, because I guarantee there's somebody in a lower situation than you are right now that needs a hand up.
And there's a purpose for all of us. You talk about on the darkness of suicidal, how we think, well, I'm not helping anybody. I'm not worth I don't have value or worth in this world.
Yeah.
So how do we get out of that? How do we be in this is running in our amygdala. How do we connect with finding the purpose, or finding our values, or finding what was the first thing? You said stop and think. You said earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Or call somebody, talk to somebody until you have somebody that really is going to answer your questions. And by the way, influences, that's a big deal right now. We let other individuals influence who we are, and that's where the problem starts, right?
Well, most of them are paid to influence you the way they influence you.
You know, I'm going to change the question, actually. I'm going to talk about high-performing men who look excellent on paper, but they're broken or hurting inside.
Yep.
What would you say to those men? And obviously, they have a high level of intimacy, connection.
What would I say to them? Give me 2 days, and let's work through your bullshit. Because that's what I do. I work with high-performing men, and we actually do weekend events, one-on-one, and they get me for about 2.5 days. And we really look at what's behind all the shit. What's holding you back? What are you afraid of? Because I've worked with billionaires, and I've seen a lot of tears come out of a lot of men.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing because sometimes it's the first
Yeah.
time to do it. It really is.
Yeah.
But everybody comes from their own story, so what would I tell one of those men? I don't know until I sit down and have a conversation with them, and figure out where they are and just start just like you're doing today, asking questions. If you want to help somebody like that, ask questions. Ask questions until they're willing to answer them, because not everybody is.
Absolutely. That's where the emotional intimacy and the connection fails, right?
Yeah.
I have high level, probably is my highest value connecting. This is why I'm doing this. But and I'm pretty good at connecting, right? But it doesn't mean that everybody wants to do it at all the time. Sometimes I guess my own energy won't allow that. So what will be the first question that we can, with someone that we clearly know is struggling, and we don't want to interfere, we don't want to, get into that person's life, but we want to leave a little seed of curiosity and understanding that there's something else that they can do without knowing, even though for the ones who are listening, helping the ones who are around them that clearly are struggling with that emotional intimacy or connection.
What's one question that I would ask? The first question.
Or tell them question or what would be advice?
I think it's better to question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can pull information out rather than giving them information.
And it's more impulsive. Yes, I agree. Thank you.
And it gives them a chance to step into something that's more important.
And they don't have to answer to anybody. They can answer themselves, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could be something as simple as what's your favorite thing about your life that you haven't thought about?
Because sometimes we put more weight on the things that we don't like than the things that are real, right?
Well, put them in. The thing is that forces them to think in a positive direction.
I love that question, Steve. I love that question.
Because I'm in sales situations all the time, and I heard somebody say the other day, so what do you think about it? Well, that question really opens everything up to any response that they have, instead of what did you like most about this? Now the person is starting to sell themselves, and in the same context as what we're talking about right now. What's your favorite part of your life? What's one memory that you haven't thought about that makes you smile? And go from there, but start from a place where you're starting to raise them up rather than try to figure out what the problem is, because most likely they don't know what the problem is. They're hiding behind their emotions. They're hiding behind their feelings. And it's hard to even understand what the problem is.
This podcast was prompted by a conversation I had with about 60-something-year-old friend, and he told me, I'm learning to express my emotions, and I love it. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
He is from Europe, and he said that when he was a young boy, he wanted to see his dad, and his father said, why are you crying? If you could keep crying, I'm going to send you away, which was not going to fix that thing. And that's what he learned to do that. And it breaks my heart to hear stories like that.
Well, they all came from their own stories too.
Yeah, we all have them.
My dad came from his own stories, and his stories, and their stories, and the stories before them, and the stories before them. We're just a culmination of sometimes just a lot of shitty experiences, people.
A lot of shit. No wonder people in America are so constipated. They're holding on to so much shit.
It is. They're all full of shit. That's where
we are. Okay, so why is so important men who creates an identity based on his masculinity at times?
Again, goes back to their story. What were they told? What were they taught? What beliefs did they create within themselves? How were they hypnotized when they were young? I grew up with a very masculine dad. You know, he's blue collar. We went hunting. You know, we went out and chopped wood in the summertime or cut down wood in the summertime. I chopped it and then cut it up, and I did that in the wintertime. That was my job. You know, we worked on cars. We did manly things. And that's how I grew up. But we all come from our own stories. You know, but your story has created who you are. And you survived everything up to this point, by the way.
Absolutely. And how can these men, be in touch with their own, be in touch with the feminine and their own feminine energy without losing their masculinity? And they don't know how to do that. You know, I'm talking about the big macho men who, we all have the two energies, and without feeling their masculinity to be threatened.
Right. How do they do that? You know, I think, again, it's just important to let yourself be and experience what you experience. And, you know, the emotions that come up, are they good for you? Are they not? Are they based on bullshit, or are they not? Be willing to cry and let it happen, because it's honestly, it takes so much strength to do that, especially in front of someone. You know, I applaud all the men who cry in front of me. I recognize them and acknowledge that, because they had the cojones to do it with me, you know, and rather than hiding in the bathroom doing it, because a lot of them do. You'd be surprised how many men are out there suffering in ways that you're not aware, you know. But how do they step into that? Men's groups are a good idea. Some of them, depending on which men's group. Some of them may not be such a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know, a group that will nurture you and support you and hold you high wherever you are. You know, step into your creative side. You know, do some things outside of what you would normally do, and explore life. It's fun. Life can be fun if you explore it and have some fun and be curious.
Curious. I love that. Kitty curious.
Yeah.
So you teach, or you practice multiple modalities. How do you know which to pick to help a client?
That's a good question. And that's something that I really can't answer until I'm in the moment, because I've been doing this for so long. Much of it is intuitive for me at this point. And most of the time it works out. And some of the times it's, okay, well, that wasn't the right tool. But I'm always learning, you know.
Share with me a very inspiring case that you helped somebody.
Oh, God. Oh, well, let's see here. I've helped 7,000 plus people quit smoking. I've helped a lot of people with weight. A lot of people get over a lot of different fears. I've helped people with alcohol, some drug issues, not too many, because they're hard to work with until they're off the drugs. But to pick one, I don't know that I want to put one over the rest of them, because I think they're all life changing.
But something that inspire you, even might be about your own ability to help somebody, maybe at the beginning.
I think I'm still inspired by the help I give people. Sometimes it surprises me. I'm like, oh my God, that worked. That was amazing. You know, I had a conversation with a guy a couple of days ago who, for the last 4 years, has not been able to get on the interstate because of massive anxiety.
That's a great one.
And we had a 7-minute conversation, and then the problem wasn't there anymore. So, you know, I think the people's ability to change inspires me on a regular basis. Helping somebody I had a guy who was on 2 tours in Iraq, and he had been through counseling with a VA for years on end. And we did one 45-minute session and cleared out the problem. So he couldn't connect with it anymore. It wasn't weighing on him. The emotion wasn't attached to the experience. It's not that it didn't happen. He remembered that it happened. It just didn't own him anymore. And I've had dozens like that. So yeah, I mean, there's so many over the years. It's, like I said, it all inspires me.
No, I love what you said. Inspires me when people want to really change or want to, something, because we all have reasons to be afraid of the change, of the evolution, of the losing the identity of that person who is afraid and everything. And who am I going to be, right? Losing complete identity by something that they don't know, when the true version of themselves is more magnificent than a copy of anything else they could possibly be, including being afraid and all of that.
I think that's probably true of every single person I will ever meet. Nobody's ever going to reach their potential
That's true.
because it
And
just keeps getting bigger. The bigger you get, the bigger your potential becomes.
isn't that amazing? That's what I was talking about with in another conversation, that the worst that we can do is just feeling like we are the smartest person in the room, because that's when we stop learning,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
no, yeah, no. I don't know that I'll ever think that. Oh, I want to be the most curious people in the room, personally.
Yeah, I have met people. I have meet individuals who said, "I am the smartest person in this room,"
Yeah,
and kudos for them.
yeah. But I'm in the wrong room. I got to go. See you.
You
I
know,
go to the ego room.
uh, as, as I walk in the house, and my brother and my nephews, my nephew, as soon as I open the door, he says, "Where's my and Christmas? Where's my video game?" And I said, I look at him. Of course, I didn't have the gift, but he knew it was coming. I look at him and I said, Santa is watching you every time that you lie. How many times you lie this year? I don't lie. And I said, that's a big one. So just like that, right? We have to come confront our own truth, and know that there's every single human has a little flaws here and there, and we're just a human.
That's it.
So, are you ready for some rapid fire questions? I say one or two things, and you say whatever comes to that beautiful head of yours that I'm so fascinated with.
Ready? What you got?
All right. Mastering passion.
Mastering
Oh,
passion.
wow.
Oh, wow. That's okay. Well, that's a big concept.
I hear the breathing.
Embracing life.
Okay. Values alignment.
Perfect path.
Daughter.
Love of my life.
And depression.
It's a terrible place to be stuck.
Intimacy.
We need more of it.
Nashville.
Not what it used to be.
Kentucky.
Love Kentucky.
San Diego.
Love San Diego.
Life purpose.
Find it.
Freedom.
Embrace it.
Motorcycle.
Freedom.
Self-love.
We need more of it.
Intelligence.
We need more of that too.
Connection.
Yes.
Hypnotherapy.
It's the way to go.
Health.
Number 1.
Family.
Number 2.
Sex.
A close 3. Actually, it might be in 1, I think.
Let's rephrase that. Let's redirect. It's interesting when I ask that question. I love seeing the faces, the reactions. I have men asking these questions here in the podcast, and you can see their face. They go somewhere for sure, or many places, and their face amazing. I love that. Conversation.
Conversation. Fun.
Helping others.
Life purpose.
Manhood.
Manhood. We need more of that too.
Woman.
We need more of them too.
More. Nurse, nourishment.
Say that again.
Nurturing. Or nourishment.
I think I'd go back to self-love with that one and nurture yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Love.
oh, go ahead.
It's perfect. I love it. Elaborate on that.
I think you need to nurture the person you've been. Love the person you were up to this point. Even if you didn't like them, they got you here.
And let me ask you another question, and I'll go back to the fire, the questions. But if I am ready to take that step, and I want to call you,
mm-hmm.
and I'm ready to do that. Which, by the way, what's your website address?
NashvilleHypnosis.com.
Oh, that's easy. NashvilleHypnosis.com, and I'm ready. But I am scared of being hypnotized because in my poor mind, I don't want to lose the control of who I am, even though my life is not, fulfilling.
Well, the thing about it is, hypnosis is not about me taking control of you. It's about helping you regain control of you. People think
I love that. That is an amazing answer. My entire body is vibrating with that answer. It's not about taking the control of you, but giving you control of you. Wow.
Yeah, it's people think that I take control of their mind, and I'm not. I'm just redirecting it, reframing things, helping you break down ideas of the ways you were thinking about your life. So on the other side of the conversations we have, a lot of times the ways you were thinking before don't exist now. Right. So even if you imagine yourself trying to be the person that you were, you're not, because you're already becoming the person you want to be. And that's what's most important. Right. So sometimes I'm hypnotizing people without them even realizing, aren't you? Starting to recognize that.
We're so afraid of one thing when in reality that's where we gain in. We are afraid to even gain the thing that we are afraid to lose. Please.
You're always hypnotized anyway. So you might as well be hypnotized by somebody who has good intention and knows what they're doing.
Yes. All right. Let's go back. Fatherhood.
Oh, fatherhood. Wow. Okay. So I went two different directions on that because I thought about my dad and I thought about me.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
And, so if I say my dad needed to show up more, if I say me needed to show up more.
That's interesting. And perfection.
There is none.
Or maybe everything.
Or everything. But if you're striving for something you think is perfection, you're never going to get there. So just stop and realize you're already exactly where you're supposed to be right now, even if you don't like it.
So that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We look for perfection when we don't know that we have it, right? That's perfect.
It depends on how you define it. Yeah, it really depends on how you define it and how you perceive it.
Interesting. All right. So, Steve, I would love for you, please, to close with something that is meaningful. Give us your wisdom.
Give you my wisdom. Oh, gosh. So you're asking for wisdom now. Be good to yourself. Decide what you want and who you want to become. And then find somebody who can help you get there. And stop trying to do it alone.
I love that. We all need help.
We all need help. Everybody needs help. So find somebody who can help you. And sort through them if you need to. But eventually you're going to run into somebody who's going to be that one pivotal person who's going to change everything. And it may just be a simple thing that they say that changes your life that you're not even, you don't even expect.
Yep. You never know when the right person is in front of you just to send you in the perfect direction.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a gracious and open and vulnerable man. In my book of record, you will go down as the men.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for inviting me on. This has been fun.
Well, yes, and I look forward to do one. Hopefully, our schedules collide in person and having a great conversation with more information, more subjects, things to talk about, and educating and bringing awareness to those who are interested in listening. Right?
Let's do it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you again. I'll send you a hug and looking forward for the next time, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Bye.